Let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 581 of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. Your fractional report. You get this right before the opening bell on Monday morning. This is on the back end of some pretty big auctions ending at Golden's. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about the data that Collectable provided us, and hopefully you guys on the other end listening to this can make some educated buying decisions to put money in your pocket and also get a good read on the market. You know what I mean? There's a few auctions ending last night. I think Golden's still going on tonight. Cage, let's start with fun. We talk about having fun, right?
I love fun. It's better than not having fun.
I think the bidder last night was having a little bit too much fun. He was pressing that, the bid up button, putting in a max offer of, I think it was $600,000 for the Zion National Treasures BGS 9.5.
I mean,
Zion looks like a big boy in the Mountain Dew commercials right now.
It's pretty crazy. I got to tell you, it really is. It's pretty crazy to see, what's going on with that. Because I remember people going nuts when the Logo Man 1 of 1 had a $500,000 bounty put on it. And this is what? This is out of 99? Right? I mean, what was this?
I think this is the highest graded in BGS, but I think what's going to be interesting to see with a card like that, right? There's cards that when they hit record highs, we all say, makes sense. Okay, makes sense. There's cards when they hit these record highs, like the Honus Wagner that's half eaten. We're like, okay, that doesn't make sense, but okay, that's not my market. But then there's cards that make you kind of like raise an eyebrow and ask, what the F happened here? And what I'm curious to see is this a catalyst for the Zion market? Will people believe or use this as a true comp, and you'll see Zion cards on the back end on Collectable, on eBay, on the open market, also go up in price on the back end of this. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's one card. I'd like to say, we talk about Zion all the time as kind of being one of those high risk, high reward plays, and that particular card is somebody who's really risking it. You know what I mean? That's somebody. If you're a believer that Zion is going to play, and Zion's going to be, a beast when he comes back, generational. I mean, that's kind of the card you want. Before Zion went out this year, and before Luka's cards did a little tank on him also. Those guys, they had a similar kind of place in the hobby. People loved them. People loved their cards. People loved their stuff. And, they went to chases. And if memory serves, even during this recent, Luka non-love, Luka, little dump on Luka, that his National Treasures out of 99, the 10-10, the PSA 10 with the 10 auto, sold for $760,000, right? So if this is really the highest BGS one out there, and it's a 9.5 with a 10 auto, right? And it's 2/3 of the price of the Luka. If you just look at it that way, it's not the craziest thing in the world if you're a believer in Zion. So, I mean, I get it. I went for way more than I thought it was going to go for. But there are Zion believers out there, man. I mean, we had Patrick Bet-David on the show, remember? And he was a Zion believer. I don't know if he's still a Zion believer, but he was a big Zion guy. He said Zion was going to score 100 points one day, right? So
when those big players, it's a mutual fund for them. They're like, I'm just going to have fun and put 5% of my money into cards, and 5% of their money is just like National Treasures. They're not even going to mess around with Prism.
Pretty much.
No,
not us. We can't do that. We can't do it. We can't do that. That's not us.
Cage, did you watch the Luka Trae game today?
No, I did not. I was out at the mall. Just recently studied some science and some math with my daughter. I did look at it. I did look at the score. I wanted to check what happened with the Pro Bowl, and I happened to see that it was, Dallas against Atlanta today. And I saw it was a pretty close game in the third quarter. So how did it end up? Tell me the story. Give me the headlines.
So Luka had 5 fouls at maybe halftime, maybe 2 minutes, I think, after halftime. 5 fouls.
Wow.
No Tim Hardaway, no KP. And who do you think won?
Dallas, because they're playing good defense.
Yeah, they're a better team. And Trae, Trae to me reminds me of making fetch happen. I think he'll never happen, but people keep trying to make him happen. And I'll tell you, what I see here is the Trae Flawless BGS 9 up 80% this week.
Do you believe that?
That's all.
What a flyer! That thing went nuts.
Can I tell you my thoughts on it?
Sure.
And we see this. It's when people run out of things to invest in or speculate in that aren't running, they start gambling. That's where I'm at with it. It's a huge gamble. That it's a speculative play. People don't know where else to put their money. So like, Trae can be good. Trae can have a good year.
I mean, the team has looked better.
Team is terrible, man. They're in 10th in the East. We keep trying to make Trae happen, and I literally don't think it'll ever happen. He's not big enough. That team is not good enough. They don't play smart ball. He puts up a lot of big numbers, and people want to get behind that and rally and kind of make that the push of why his card should be more valuable. But anybody that truly watches the games and sees he's such a liability on defense. He's overrated on offense. He doesn't run a great offense either. And I think that Trae is one of the more overvalued players in the game right now. Up there with Herbert. But Herbert kind of had a pullback.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. You think Trae's overvalued? I mean, the dude scores. I mean, he does score. You can't really take that away from him, right? He does.
That's the narrative,
score.
Cage. That's the narrative. That's not enough. I mean, look at the guys that are setting record prices, Cage. It's not. Yeah. We're not to be cardboard relevant to kind of demand 5, 6, 7 figure prices. You're going to have to do more.
That Trae was shocking.
Have to win.
So talk to me about that. Why is the Trae card going up 80%?
I think people are gambling. It's like I really believe that. I think we know what we get with Luka. The ship has sailed a little bit short term with Ja because his cards have run up. Tatum's not showing you anything, and people are hoping that Trae and this Hawks team turn things around and maybe make a run. I don't see it happening from watching their game. So a lot of people will point to, hey, they had that amazing game versus the Suns, right? 43 points I think he had. The issue with Trae is that very thing. Of course, he has the talent to put up 50 on any night. But if you watch him night in and night out, it's very difficult because of his physical stature. He looks a lot smaller than everyone else. Consistently, offenses attack him on defense. And if you really watch him offensively, he's incredibly streaky. Streaky. And I will say this. If you really look at that team, I think it's ridiculous to say that he doesn't have the best supporting cast out of any of the other kind of prospects out there. He has an incredible team around him, incredible young core. John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Herther, Bogdanovich. I mean, they have players. They have Capella. They have a team that I'll say if they were a 4, 5, 6 seed and he was valued the way he was, I'd say, cool, he has some. But, dude, we're talking about a 10 seed here. We're talking about a 10 seed who has looked terrible all year. So that's my thoughts on the Trae.
Can I give maybe my thought on it also? And maybe you tell me what you think is, right? So I love that one, right? So, I mean, I love the Trae card. Can I posit just maybe another theory? We've talked about, like, game used, and we've talked about, like, the different patches and stuff that are in there. Can I make an argument maybe that this is more about the flawless than it is about the player, right? And flawless getting a little more love, right? It's a recent release, right, that just came out this year. People are opening it, people like it. It's got a lot of game used stuff in it, right? You're getting game used, and maybe the headlines of last week that the buyout on the Mahomes wasn't the national treasure, it was the flawless. Right, the flawless was the buyout that ran up a little bit, and now you see Trae, flawless RPA, right? The flawless rookie of Trae running up a little bit. Maybe it's flawless getting a little more love. Maybe it's in the spotlight. I know 80% is a lot, but do you see maybe? I'm trying to think, where we can go with this. I mean, he's clearly not the same player and not in the same, category of love as Mahomes.
Yes, Cage. But here's my worry, though. So I hear you. And there's probably a period in time where Bradley Beal, if you bought the right card of his, you could kind of package him into the elite players and maybe sell it for a higher price.
Yep.
But very soon, Trae's going to become a Bradley Beal and not a Luka Doncic.
Okay.
He's
I guess
gonna
where I'm
become
going with it, right, is if maybe it's a reset of prices on Flawless, and maybe there's a way to look at this. Like, Jason Tatum didn't exactly do anything great this week, but his Flawless RPA PSA 10 on the site was up 10% also. And it's still a little, I believe, a little below the IPO price. So if you're looking for trends, I mean, obviously the Trae card was significantly less when it IPO'd, and it's still significantly less market cap than what the Tatum is now. But do you look at maybe the other Flawless stuff on the platform and say, okay, well, people are looking at Flawless and value them, maybe that's underpriced. That's kind of where I'm going. I could be wrong. I'm grasping here, but 80% I had to start looking, and I know from last week the Mahomes got bought out, right? And it was accepted buyout, right? Which is probably smart for the folks to buy it out, because compare that to what happened to the Mahomes National Treasure RPA this week, which was down 32% when the Flawless has a buyout accepted. So I'm just wondering whether or not there's anything, to that. And there's not that many Flawless on here. Mahomes has a couple of Flawless. Trae has it, and Tatum has one. So it was just kind of where I went with it when I saw that Trae one. But you're right. Trae is an interesting play, man. He's tiny. He doesn't play defense. And your Bradley Beal comparison is an interesting one. Go ahead, shoot, man. What do you looking stuff up?
The Trae Flawless BGS 9, it's 27,750.
Yeah.
Out of 18 though. Okay.
Yep.
The Jason Tatum out of 5 is 40,000.
Yep.
It's a $30,000 difference.
Yep.
But Cage, as much as I think Tatum, out of 5, PSA 1010 versus a Trae BGS 9 out of 18. It's kind of weird. There's a lot to compare there. That's not apples to apples by any means.
Yep. Nope.
But as much as Tatum's having a down year for him, his team's in a better spot. His team's actually winning. And I think if you look at that team, okay, Jaylen Brown, who's missed some time, you can't even compare the supporting roster of the Celtics. That team is terrible versus the supporting cast of the Hawks. So, I mean...
Yeah, the Hawks have Kevin Knox.
You're so dumb. All right, let's keep moving. I know I've picked up on these cues before. So, guys, just some data for you guys. Vintage up 2.475%. Modern up 2.3%. Ultra modern up 4%. So, some positivity across the board. It mimics what Ken Golden said also. Like, the market is... It's not this volatility of high highs and low lows, but it is perking back up. There is momentum. There's action. Basketball up 3%, baseball 2%, football 8%, and tennis 25%. Hockey dipped, golf dipped, and boxing dipped.
The headline for me. Yeah, anything stick out? Headline for me. On-field performance matters, and even when you perform well on the field, if you do not win the Super Bowl, if you do not, carry on and do your stuff, there is a little bit of a response. People sell your stuff, especially because we talk about this all the time. Even if you had a great season, right? There is that upside baked in, that MVP, that Super Bowl baked in. And if it doesn't happen, that little bit of upside, at least for this season, is out. So the two things that stuck out for me.
Before we go,
please.
Can I ask you something? Can I pick your brain, as they say?
Of course.
Can I dive into a little bit of the experience behind those eyes? So you used to trade earnings, right? You said that word.
Yes.
And tell me how do I word this? When you're trading earnings and a company outperforms earnings, but the stock falls, as an investor, that's very confusing, right?
Yeah, you have to look why. You have to see, is there guidance? What was it? Was there something deeper? If they hit the revenue mark and they hit their, earnings per share mark, why would it go down? Normally it's because they've given some sort of guidance or something like that. Oh, next quarter we expect a pullback. Something deeper.
Something deeper. But it's confusing because you're like,
short
term the performance.
Wait, I won. Yeah, I won.
When a market resets or corrects or reaches equilibrium, whatever it is, and performance, let's say a company does well and the stock goes up, or a player does well and his stock goes up. That's really what a market should be, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's fundamentals. And it's good to see the hobby back in that place where if you lose value. If you win, you gain value.
But I think, listen, I want to peel that back and say that I think some of these guys are potential buys. Maybe not this week, but as football ends, which the next time we do this episode, it'll be Super Bowl Sunday. You know what I mean? So
we'll have to do it before the Super Bowl, Cage. We're not recording this at midnight.
Well, lucky for us, there's not much in the way of Super Bowl participants on Collectable presently. So there's not a lot of Matthew Stafford cards out there that need to be fractionalized. So
you know what's interesting?
Shoot.
There's no Burrow cards either. That's what the market said, and that's a little bit of an interesting thing. I imagine next year there will be.
I'm sure there are probably some in the pipeline already. But yeah, so what I'm saying is, so football is going to be out of people's minds. You can have a champ, right? And it's not going to be any of the main guys people are investing in. I mean, there were some people who bought Burrow. Please go back and listen to our podcast the week he got hurt when we told you to buy him. I hope some of you did. Knee injuries for quarterbacks are just not what they used to be. It's amazing what they can do now to basically just rebuild you back up in no time. So in any event, it's look at the football stuff. Look at this. No, I mean, it's important, right? That's part of what you do investment wise. If you think, the knee, he's done. No, you're going to miss out on an opportunity. A lot of people did. The QBs, the young QBs in the AFC who are going to be the future of the game. They're the current stars. They're the darlings. Look at the Mahomes National Treasure RPA. Yes, it's a BGS 8.5, but it's down 32.7% this week, right? And that is, clearly a nice card that in the previous weeks had a run-up. It had gone up 11.1% the week before. It had gone up 22.5% the week before that. The question to ask is this 32.7% an overreaction to be eliminating? So what I like to do is I like to look at something comparable, right? And I looked at the Herbert National Treasure RPA. And I said, okay, let's go back a couple weeks, right? Because Mahomes was eliminated now 2 weeks, right? Mahomes was eliminated last week. Herbert was eliminated, 2 weeks before that. So let's look. Herbert has the last 2 weeks now. It was down 10.3%. And then this past week down another 7, which means people have continued to flow out of it week over week as the season ends and he's not winning. The Mahomes one was a lot to lose a third of the value. Some could say overreacting. Some could say that when the quarterbacks are eliminated and that upside is eliminated, there's multi-weeks of people coming out of that and putting their money in something else. Maybe they'll roll. It
was up in anticipation, too. It was up 40% before that.
Well, all it did was, if you do the quick math, it's down 32%, right? It was up 33.6% in the 2 weeks before that. It was up 11.1 and 22.5. So basically, like you're saying, it gave back the run-up from the playoffs. So
I think we see another month or 2 months of it, another month of it going down.
Not in 30%, but yes, I think you're going to continue to see the slide on this. And I think that will present an opportunity because going into next season, Mahomes and the Chiefs are going to be favorites to be in the AFC Championship for the 5th straight game, even with some movement around, unless Tom Brady comes back and decides he's going to play in Tennessee. Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers going there could be interesting too.
Let me ask.
But that's the interesting headline. Go ahead. Shoot, man.
Wax. It's boring, but it's a moneymaker. I want to ask you because there's this is a weird discrepancy. So strong auction. So 03 exquisite. Yep. Cemented, iconic, right?
Yep.
That might be the kind of modern case of this generation. If 86 Fleer was of the past, I think 03 exquisite will be that because the LeBron card is basically $1 million card, any auction, bad market, good market. There's always a buyer for that LeBron exquisite, and the case follows that lead. But here's the interesting thing. So there was where is it? Okay, so there's a market cap of one case or one sealed box for $106,000, right? Mm-hmm. But the case unopened just sold for $996,000, which is about $300,000 per box.
Yep, we talked about this with Golden.
Yeah, but that's a big discrepancy. That's a huge discrepancy.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know wax enough. But it seems to me wax is the easiest apples to apples comparison. There's no grade. There's no grading company. It's a case is 3 boxes. So case is $1 million. Box should be 333,000.
So let's take it through, right? Are you asking me? Do I think that the box at 106,000 is low? Yes. Are you asking me whether I think a box should be closer to 332,000 because that's what the 3-box case is? There's a definite no. Do I think it should be somewhere in the middle? No. Do I think it should be? No, honestly, yeah. Because here's why, right?
It's chaos. There's no
How
answer.
many times have you seen Logan Paul buy a box of first edition Pokemon? You've seen him do a bunch of them, right? You've seen him do a bunch. What are you showing me?
The box. I can't pull up Collectable online, so I'm just pulling it up.
Okay. So Logan Paul, right? Didn't he break a box of Pokemon first edition on whatnot Christmas Day? There are boxes abound, right? He's broken a bunch of boxes. He did one with Steve Aoki, right? Remember they broke the box? They had Collectable Guru on there, and every collector Guru, whatever his name is, and every card was worth $50,000. The Bulbasaur Raw was worth $10,000. I mean, like, just, it was pretty nuts. Remember that whole break? There's a lot of boxes that he has broken of that, right? And the boxes sell for a couple $100,000, right? I mean, you can look that up, right? Whether it's 200, 300, whatever it may be, right? 200,000, 250. Let's round up and say 300,000. Okay, that stuff comes in a sealed case, a 6-box case. Everyone now knows that it comes in a sealed 6-box case. Why do we all know that? Because we were all treated to the infamous G.I. Joe case. It's now part of hobby lore. That Logan Paul paid $3.5 million for a sealed case.
I don't pick up what you're putting down.
So let me throw it back at you then. A 6-box case. Let's say the box.
Good at ping pong?
I love it. It's table tennis. Ready? 6-box case, $300,000 per box. How much should the case be? Just do math for me now. 6 times 300.
1,800 or
1.8 million. Exactly, 1.8 million. Right? And we're rounding it up to 300,000, 1.8 million. But Logan paid $3.5 million for a sealed case after Shine paid 2 point something, whatever the heck it was, even though the case is filled with G.I. Joe cards. Thanks, everybody. Great hobby story.
What are you talking?
Dude, okay. The world understands. Everyone listening to this understands. You gave me a hypothetical. You said an exquisite case with 3 boxes in it sells for $900,000, but a box is $100,000. I said there's a premium for the case, even though no one wants to think that. Everybody who has a box thinks their box should be worth $300,000. Not true. Cases, especially limited cases like this, that are historic products that you don't know how many cases there are sealed out there, and there's not that many, they carry a significant premium, not because someone wants to open it up and pull a case hit, because they want to say, I'm one of the only people, if not the only person, who has a sealed case of this product. It becomes a rarity in and of itself. That's why Logan Paul was willing to pay literally double the price for a sealed case, more than double, because I'm rounding up, than what 6 boxes would sell for. Because he gets to say, look at me, I got the box. It's got G.I. Joe cards in it, but I got the case. It's authentic.
I don't understand.
So that's what's going
irrational.
On here.
I think that's very irrational.
It is a supply and demand thing. It is I get to brag. There's 100 and something Charizard PSA 10s. So he takes one, cracks it out, and gets a BGS 10. Because he doesn't want to be one of 121. He wants to be one of 3. Same thing.
I think it's because a case they think subconsciously has better odds at hitting.
No, they know it's not. They know it's not. Obviously better odds. It's 3 odds. It's the same thing as this. The exquisite product did not have what it's called like a case hit. Like there's no guarantee if you open up this 3-box case that there's going to be a low numbered RPA in it. Nothing like that. Same thing with Pokemon. There's no guarantee of Charizard. It's completely random. But some cases have case hits where you're going to get one Color Blast or one Kaboom or whatever it is. It's a case hit. There's no case hit in these. But whether you like this or not or agree with it, I personally don't. I don't want to have a sealed case for double the price. But this is why there's a premium there, right? Golden sold that one. I don't know if there are any other ones. Maybe there are. But if there are, there's not that many. But there are plenty of one sealed box. And I'm not shitting on the box. That's a 6-figure box. One sealed box. Over $100,000. Do I think the premium here is worth it? It's a 3 times premium? Absolutely not. But to say a box should be 1/3 of the price of a sealed case, that's kind of silly. I think the premium is significant. And we've seen it. We've seen it recently, although the case turned out to be fake. So that's my answer on that one.
All right. So let's proceed. Let's keep going.
We can proceed. Let's talk about, listen, guys, we love that you listen to us. I'm going to believe that you guys listen to us because even though we just talked about Mahomes and Herbert, and Mahomes, I mean, his card went down 32%. Look, he just lost this past week. So this is the first week in trading. You'd like to think Mahomes has done some stuff, right? He won an MVP, he won a Super Bowl. Herbert, I understand you guys, beating his cards up. But when you have an actual legacy, when you have an actual, a history to you, Brady got knocked out of the playoffs too. And yet, take a look at what happened with his cards. And we specifically brought up that basket. And we said that basket with the 2 autos in it, the 2, playoff, the contenders auto tickets, we said they were low compared to the recent comps of 108, 109. And those moved up. They moved up the basket of 2 to 214, 107 apiece, right in line with that 109, 108. The traders this past week realized that there was that was definitely not, they were not in line with comps. Same as the contenders sealed box that I brought up, that was a play on Brady. And that basket, the contenders basket and the contenders box were up 58% and 32% this week. So thanks for listening on those guys because, clearly now they're in line. Did you see anything out there that's not exactly in line with a recent comp? Because the stuff we've been talking about, we talked about those 2. We talked about the 53 Jackie Robinson, which went up 16%, but it's got a market cap of 74, still lower than the 94 of the recent Heritage sale. We've talked about, you started bringing this up, and I've just piggybacked on it 3 or 4 weeks in a row here, that 33 Gowdy Ruth, the SGC 8, that had been negative, finally had a positive week, up 7%. Has a market cap of 204, still well shy of the market cap of 288 from the Heritage sale that happened now a little while back. Any other fun ones out there like that you would say, okay, they kind of fall into that? The one was a vintage baseball play for me. Not crazy price difference, but we talked about the 1960 Mickey Mantle PSA 9, which we've seen it. The last 5 weeks, we talked about it last week also, the last 5 weeks down like 0.5%, down 1%, down 8%, down 3%. It was down another 4% this week. And that puts the market cap at like $36,000 now. And there was a recent golden auction for the same PSA 9 1960 that was $48,000. So now you're talking about a card that's sitting at like 75% of a recent comp. There's definitely
the
a little.
Eye appeal with vintage is really difficult.
It's tough. You're right. You're 100% right. The centering matters a lot. It really, really does.
The eye appeal with vintage is interesting because if the card on Collectable is nicer than normal copies, that's great, but no one really feels a connection to it because they don't actually own it. It might be more sought after for a buyout, but if the one on Collectable is less appealing, then there's significant premium that you'll see and on different auction houses. So
100% right.
20%, that feels about right. If it gets to the 50% mark, that's where 50%, that's where it gets weird. No, I mean, KH, everything's kind of in line. My more macro thesis is we're going to have a fun few months. We're going to have a fun next 3 to 6 months where performance matters, where NBA playoffs matter, where hockey playoffs matter, where World Cup's coming up, where we're going to have baseball starting off and seeing, how the players perform. And, Tatis comes out, he's in a slump. His cards will. I like that we're seeing more performance-driven stuff, and I think that's why you also see across-the-board vintage sell off a little bit on the big cards. People could take a little bit of profit and have some fun and start kind of speculating and having fun with the modern players.
Listen, I love it. I love where you're going with it. And I have a couple of ones that stood out for me, if I'm allowed to talk about it, because we'll see. We'll see them start to play. We'll see what ends up happening. But I've brought up a card a couple of times here, and I only bring this up now from a technical perspective. I know you can't bring it up, but take a look at the Gleyber Torres orange, right? Mm-hmm. So Gleyber Torres orange, is sitting there again at 2.8 per share, right? So we can talk about the market cap on this one if you like, right? This is one where originally at IPO, $10 a share, 2,075 shares, right? So $20,750. It's now basically a quarter of that, right? It's at $280 a share, right? So we're talking about what, 5 and change thousand, 6,000, just a little under. And why this one stuck out to me is we've talked about this one. It was down, so somebody tried to liquidate, obviously, out of this last week, $4.50 a share, now 2.8. And the last time we talked about this was, I don't know if it was 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, it was the week that ended 12/31, right? So yeah, about 6 weeks ago. And do you know what it closed at that week? The week before it was 425, and it closed at 2.8. Support? Maybe. Doesn't look like anybody wants to sell below 2.8 because the following week it was at 3 and then back to 4.7, 4.7, 4.5, and now it's back down to 2.8. It has done this a few times. It has gone to 3 and then immediately bounced back to 425. It has gone to 2.8. 2 weeks later, it's back over 4. This is a card, I know you hate the per share, but it's IPO to 10, and baseball season is coming, assuming they're able to figure out, the millionaires and the billionaires are able to kind of figure it out. We will see what happens.
Do you think this guy has potential?
I do. He's a young guy. They tinkered with his swing a little bit. And, I believe last year, so he didn't perform well during COVID. That was a crazy year. I almost want to throw that out for a lot of people. And while he came up in the system as a shortstop, I don't think that's where he should be playing. I think they can put him at second base. And what's tough about that is they signed LeMahieu to a 6-year deal, and he was supposed to be the second baseman. It's very weird. But Gleyber last year had 18 errors at shortstop, and they moved him over to second base. And I've heard a lot of talk about him potentially being traded. Gleyber being he's a young guy, right? And you add in the rumors that I heard this week of the Yankees going after Freddie Freeman, trying to lure him away from the Braves. Now, if Freddie Freeman is playing first base for you, right, you have this. There's too many infielders. You know what I mean? You're going to have to put LeMahieu somewhere, right? So he probably goes to second. They're probably not going to be doing. I mean, you got Luke Voigt to throw in the mix. You got this Urshela to throw in the mix. They just got too many people. Anthony Rizzo.
The casual fan doesn't care about you and your Yankees.
The point being, that's funny. The point being
terrible.
Is Gleyber's name is going to be brought up a lot once this lockout stuff is done. He's either going to be the number 6-7 hitter on a Yankees team that's mashing with all these crazy guys. Aaron Judge back and healthy, Giancarlo Stanton back and healthy, DJ LeMahieu on a huge team, and he turns it around. Or he could be shopped somewhere where he's now the number 3 or 4 hitter, young guy, in the middle of a lineup producing for somebody. And I don't know what happens with him. I like this guy, right? We've talked about him. I've talked about the show a couple times. I've watched him play. He's still so young, right? He was the Ohtani year. He was in the top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting. He was a rookie the same year Ohtani won. It was Miguel Andujar who got injured, and then it was Gleyber Torres. Great year. He's got 30 home run, 100 RBI kind of power numbers. And listen, he's just one of these guys who, he was talked about in that just below Soto, Tatis, Vlad Guerrero, like those kind of names. He was right there with those guys, and he kind of fell off. And COVID, you name it, the whole deal. A little bit of tweak on the swing, a little bit that kind of stuff, and you could find a real bargain here. It's one of those cards where you could see somebody taking it off the market. Right, you could see.
I was going to say the market cap was $20,000 card when it first started. It's a nice copy. It's in a Cubs jersey, but it's an orange Bowman refractor, Gem Mint Plus too. I think there was a 10 on it, and it's now $5,800.
Yeah, it's less than $6,000. Yeah. Somebody wants to take a flyer on this guy coming into the season. That's the kind of card that gets taken off the platform. You can offer a real nice premium on the current trading and still be 50%. Below 50% of the IPO price. So it's just one I look at this one. It's almost like the technicals, right? It hasn't gone below 2.8. It's gotten to 2.8 before, and it always seems to kind of bounce off that 2.8. So that's why this one stuck out at me while I was looking at the the price chart. That's all.
That's it. Tom Brady, NFL debut full ticket, PSA 7. So this is IPOing, guys, and a little bit of interesting stuff here. So 107,000 market cap, which is crazy high for a ticket, compared to 26,000 for a PSA 2 stub, which is autographed as well. Apparently, and I don't agree with this at all, but
me neither.
The market doesn't lie that unsigned tickets are considered more valuable than signed tickets by purists. We'll have Darren Ravel on the show. He's a ticket purist. Just kidding. I don't understand that logic.
I don't understand that either. I don't understand that at all. Same as me, to autograph the card. You know what I mean? Don't autograph the card. I guess it's the same kind of thing with the ticket stub,
The ticket stub is really the thing that you would be okay with autographing. Let me go through the data real quick, and we will wrap because we're right at that 45-minute mark, which we try to keep it to. So
the IPOs are cute. Yeah, let's go. There's a couple really nice ones.
So Bobby Orr, 1970, 1970 game used jersey, fully funded. Let's keep moving. 1952 Top Speaky Mantle PSA 7, open for exclusive access. Just so you guys know, $299 is the IPO price. PWCC sold one for $336,000. Reggie Jackson, this is cool, Cage. Oakland A's road jersey. I'm assuming it's game worn from 1969. That's iconic. You don't get a lot of those.
Nope.
Oscar Robertson rookie jersey. Will Chamberlain game used Lakers jersey. And I don't know who this guy is. Maybe you do. 1948 Leaf Warren Spahn PSA 9.
Gorgeous card. 48 Leaf is beautiful. You got the Jackie Robinson in that. You got the Satchel Paige. The set. Used to be my my profile picture. The Spawn's
1948 Leaf.
Yep, 48 Leaf.
Cool. And here's next week's schedule. So Tuesday we have the MLB All-Star Game full ticket set. I don't know what that is. 47,500. Just check into it. They'll have it on the platform. 2/9 Wednesday. 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle PSA 7. 299,000. And this is what I like to see. 4.7% retained, which is reasonable.
That's a gorgeous card, by the way. And we recent 7 sold the golden for more, so that's a nice one to keep an eye on. But my favorite one's the next one coming up.
Will Chamberlain 1961 Fleer 300 PSA 9 320,000 16% retained. That's where I like to see retained earning under 20%. I'm okay. Once it gets into the higher number, if you're going to retain that much, not for me. But in that lower 16%, 4%, I love that card. And then there's a surprise offering, a vintage baseball card. So.
Stay tuned. Sunday, 2/13. Little surprise vintage baseball card. Those are always fun.
I will wrap with this. I think we're getting to the stage where performance matters, like Cage said, where if you play well, if you do well, you can expect your prices to appreciate. If you do poorly, you get knocked out. There's no short-term promise. Your card prices may fall. And I like that. I think that's healthy. I think I'm really interested if they break up that basket or, start adding, individual players. Like I think has a lot of potential as that team makes a run. Luka as well. So,
guys, before we go, one of the cool things in the Collectable app. So we talk about them here. We try to bring up as many comps as we can. Look, there's it's not over yet because we're recording this on Sunday night. But Golden tonight has a Mahomes National Treasure. I think it's a 9. The one on Collectable is an 8.5. but I'm pretty sure that one's already up over $100,000, and way more than the Mahomes is on Collectable. But they've just added in there new. It's called Under Comps. It's an Under Comps tab in the app that highlights offerings that are currently trading below their most recent direct comp. That's a really cool tool that they've added into the app for you guys, because it lets you know, all right, if I'm in something, look at what this thing is, or it allows you to find something that, like we talk about, hey, this one just sold, in Heritage or Robert Edward, whatever it is. It's right on there. They've thrown this in. It's called Under Comps. It's a tab in the app that shows the offerings on Collectable that are trading below their most recent direct comp. Nice little tool for you guys.
How are you feeling? Are you having fun, Cage?
Oh yeah, always having a blast.
Excited. February just started. 11 months left in 2022. How's the year going for you? How are you enjoying cards?
Great.
Buying?
It's great.
Are you doing non-sport? Are you vintage Type 1 photos? Anything?
Vintage is the way to go right now for me. It lets me sit on the sidelines, still play with the cards, still buy the stuff, but not worry about the violent swings that we're seeing. I don't love, if I'm a Mahomes guy, I got to be thrilled the fact that he's gone to 4 straight AFC championship games. I got to be happy that he won an MVP. Happy that he won a Super Bowl. Happy that he's probably gonna be a favorite to come back and do it again next year. I don't like seeing the value of my cards go down 33% in a week. That's a little much for my taste. It made me a little. I'm not a roller coaster guy. I'm Ferris wheel.
I've boxed Cage in,
Carousel.
guys. I've boxed him in. I know who he is as an investor. This is the bucket. He's a contrarian. He's a contrarian by nature. And that there's nothing wrong with that. They say bulls can win, bears can win, but pigs get slaughtered.
This is true. No one's ever accused me of being that. You know what a chaza is, Frank? It's a pig that don't fly straight. You know what that's from?
Goodfellas.
No. It's Scarface. But close. You're sort of in the right genre.
It felt like that. It felt like someone died right after.
Yeah.
They're in a restaurant. They're in a kitchen. Someone's making them meatballs and stuff. And this guy is gonna get shot any minute. Some kind of that kind of scene.
Oh, that's funny, man. No, close. He did get shot right after. It wasn't in a kitchen. There was no meatballs. It was in his office. There was a cop there. Yeah, I mean, you set it up pretty good. It was well done. You're close enough. How about yourself, man? What are you buying? What are you buying? Did you find anything gold? I like gold.
I'm buying stuff I really like. Is that weird to say?
I mean, people do say buy what you love. I mean, I've heard that a few times.
I'm not overextended, so I'm hoping that I don't get overextended. But I'm hoping that I don't have to liquidate these things on other people's time. So one thing I want to buy is it's not a very common release. I sent it to you. You didn't text me back. It was the John Morant gold out of 25 Panini rookie card, but it was like it's like a weird
Panini
release.
Panini
Black. Jersey number. So I thought that was cool. I like that. I don't think the hobby cares as much as you could see with the Jordan Exquisito. But I think a PSA 10, you see clearly John Morant wearing a number 12 jersey, card number 12, rookie card. I don't know, man. Like that kind of stuff. It's a little bit pricey, $1,000, but listen, I want it.
I got to tell you, I
need it.
I do have a theory about this stuff. Okay. I have a theory. My theory is
eat first and then he'll tell me.
My theory is it's pretty straightforward. It's people say buy what you love, right? And Collectable, this works for this app also. They say buy what you love. I say that is not the right strategy. I say buy what somebody who has money and is going to buy something from you loves. Try to buy what everyone loves, not just what you love. Try to buy what is objectively loved, not just subjectively loved. And if you happen to find something that's both, great, win-win for everybody. But you'll notice the stuff that seems to go up is the stuff that everybody's looking for. It's the stuff that there's this little thing in economics we call demand for, not just subjective demand for you because you and me like it, but try to find something that a lot of people like, a lot of people are going to want. Those are the ones that I think the price will carry on. So,
and people with money want.
Exactly. because those are the ones that are going to be able to spend money.
Yeah, because
I mean, you don't want the cards the poor people want. What good is that?
if you want to sell them,
Yeah,
it would be a futile strategy. If you want to hold them, or if you love the player, it doesn't really matter because you're buying it as a good, not as an asset. That's where it gets fun and interesting and all that stuff. We talk about NFTs, but it's the same thing. Some people love buying NFTs for art. Other people are like, I could give two shits about the art. I just want to sell this for a higher price at a later date. And I think it's fascinating. I think cards go into that bucket too, and probably some middle ground. Like some people are like, I just want to sell this for more money in the future. Other people are like, I love this photo or this card makes me feel a certain type of way, and everything in between.
I like it. You just muted yourself. This, guys, is another episode of the Fractional Report brought to you by Collectable before the opening bell. Collectible's Fractional Report, and it will be out for you before the opening bell. This was a fun one. Lots of topics in here. Performance on the field and how it impacts what's going on in the market. A couple of things that are below. A couple of cool memorabilia items that are coming out there. We got everything from vintage to modern, overreaction, or is it? We got, is there a premium for sealed cases versus sealed boxes? We got into a lot of fun stuff today, man. Anything else you want to throw out there? I mean, you want me to throw you one of these and say, is the Luka White Sparkle finish going down? Because that just kind of just dribbles down every week.
I think that kind of fits the category we were just talking about. It's no one with money wants to buy that card. Right, so it's the guy you
nice
want.
Card.
It's
the guy
nice
you want.
Card.
Low pop.
If you show them that card, they'll be, that's kind of cool. But no one with money is like, I'm gonna shell out a large amount of money for this card. It's actually a great example. I objectively don't like White Sparkle. I don't get it. If I was making parallels, that's not what I would do.
I'm with you. That's why I saved that one for the end. It's this little cherry on top of the episode Sunday.